Yo, what is going on, guys? It is already here, your boy, Player X of the Semi Limited podcast. Thank you guys so much for returning for another great installment of the podcast, the best podcast this side of the Mississippi for the TCG Yu Gi Oh content players. All right, so once again, we last year we were the top podcast for 40 plus you guys, and we can't thank you guys enough for 2023. But that just means that you guys are helping us lift us into bigger and better things for 2024 and helping us branch out and do way more than we did last year. And I appreciate that. We're giving access to more guests and bigger, uh, content for you guys. So I appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving us. For today's episode, we will be joined by a returning guest as we dive into some of the things that happened over at YCS Raleigh that went down over the weekend, as well as one of the most important games to go down at Raleigh. And I'm not even talking about the main event, I'm talking about something else that went down. And then we also have what happened with some of the sneak peeks, and then what sneak peek decks we might think have some real upward potential coming up into this future metagame. But before all that, as usual, let's get into these sponsored plugins, starting with you guys all going down to that Linktree link down below in the description box. You can click on that. The tab will come up so you guys can follow all of our social sites. We will be continuing to do giveaways via all of these social sites as we continue to hit more of our accolades and goals for them. So when we hit 50 followers on TikTok, which we've been grinding up since we have been a little bit synced up now with the other content forms, when we hit 100 on Instagram, 100 on Twitter, and then 200 on Instagram, Discord, and YouTube, which we're pretty close to on YouTube, and I think we're climbing up there on Instagram as well. So appreciate that. So be sure that when we hit all these goals, you guys are following and maybe notified, hit the notification bell there, so that way when we comment and talk about what we're gonna do for the giveaways coming up, you guys know exactly what's going on. You're able to get involved right away, no questions asked. Also, speaking of giveaway, shout outs to Unplugged Gaming in Manlius, New York for sponsoring the podcast. Be sure to join their Discord server over in the description box below. You can be a part of all of their TCG communities, whether it be any sort of cardboard games you guys might play. Be sure to go down there, check it out. They might have something that you guys might be interested in, or someone who can get you into the community that you guys would want to. So be sure that if you're not only checking out things over there and talking with people, that you also show up in store, like I said, in Manlius. And if you guys do show up, be sure to tell them that the boys over at Semi Limited Podcast sent you, and they'll be sure to hook you guys up. No questions asked. Also, be sure to catch Brad, aka Mr. Perfect, live streaming on Twitch every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. His Twitch will also be in our Linktree link down below, so you can click on that and catch him on Saturday nights, whether it be him doing something on EDO Pro, maybe he's doing something on Master Duel, could be on Dueling Book, maybe he's play testing, we're crafting, sometimes like sections like of the format like this where we just had a big ban list, but right before a core set, he's doing a lot of testing, a lot of building, a lot of fiddling with certain decks, and you guys can go on there and either play with him or maybe watch him go around and play certain people from all over the United States or even all over the nation. You never quite know. But be sure to catch him once again every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And make sure to interact with him on chat, because anything that happens on stream, he'd be sure to tell me on our Friday night wrap up. So you might just find yourself in an episode of the podcast yourself. And with all that being said, before we start digging into today's episode, I'd like to introduce our guest for tonight's recording. This player is the returning guest, as you guys have probably heard him a couple times this year, if not last year for those last year episodes. But he just had me on his Twitch stream on Sunday for day 2 of the YCS, as we live stream basically in the entirety of the last couple rounds of Swiss as well as the top cut. So I figured it'd be only right to bring him right back over here and now go over what we saw for that YCS stream. So be sure to give it up for our boy, Vengeful Shadows.
Hey, thank you so much, Player X. It is Vengeful Shadows here, and you can follow me over on YouTube, as well as he said, like, once in a while, we're going to be doing some of those Twitch streams for those bigger events. We like to have the coverage, live so people can get the action right then and there. And then, as we know, we see card buyouts occur as those events do take place, so it's really important for players to know like when cards are going to be noted for like the format change, kind of like how we saw deck lockdown and other cards like that. And then today, if you look, or yesterday and today, if you look, all those cards have been kind of spiking in price. So it's just really nice to have those as a live coverage. And again,
Mhm.
big shout out to you for having me back and for joining me yesterday. That was a long, long time.
It
So
was a
I
long
again
stream. It was a long
yeah, it
stream. It
is.
was
It
fun
is
though.
like
100%.
it is. It's super fun. So again, shout out to you. Thank you again for joining me. It was a blast. And then shout out again to Thug314. I always got to give him a big shout out. But yeah, man, thank you
Absolutely.
again.
No, great stream. I had a lot of fun. The chat was very interactive. Once again, yep, shout outs to Thug for being so enthusiastic, I guess, in the comment section over there. We were doing giveaways. I think I sent the package out today to Venge because I told him that we were going to give him some OTS packs to give away to certain people that were either on stream or who will upcomingly be interacting with his page so he can do a giveaway for you guys. So we did a whole bunch of things on it. It was a great time, and I appreciate not only you guys having us come on there, but also everyone who was in chat making it a blast themselves.
Oh yeah, no, Thug is the best moderator ever, and yeah, we got a few people that will hop over, and even some of the old Destiny crew because I used to stream Destiny back in the day, so a few of them
Mm,
even hopped in to say hi, so that was good.
absolutely. And then before we start, did you have any plugins or any shout outs you may have before we dig right in?
Again, biggest one, shout out to you, shout out to Thug and my wife, who's like literally the best person in the entire world. As of now, we don't have any sponsors right
Aw,
now, so we're just shout out to all the watchers because they are my sponsors right now. Okay, all of them keeping me
absolutely. All the
going.
eyes
You
and
are my
ears.
sponsor. Yep, you're the best.
There you go. And you guys have heard it here first. Love straight from the guy's mouth. But now, with all that out of the way, let's dig into this episode. I don't want to take you guys up for, I would say, too crazy long of a time, but I definitely want to get into everything that's been going on. So, starting off with the episode, we're going to be going over the YCS Raleigh that happened over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, April 20th and 21st. Also, happy holiday to those 420 celebrators. I was
Hey yo.
definitely zooted out my goddamn mind for the holiday. So I definitely was surprised I even made it to his stream, considering the fact that we didn't even go to sleep until like 2 o'clock in the morning. So long days. But this 2 day event had almost 1,800 players in attendance. It was 1,793 players in the main event, to be exact, which led to an 11-round Swiss with a top cut of 32 on day two. Crazy names were there at the event from back to back winner. Christian Moreno, who just came off of his Mexico win, to players from the UDS Championship like Cameron Neal, Jesse Cotton, and even more notable names like Patrick Hoban was in attendance, as well as Hani Jawari. Throughout this entire tournament, the competition was very fierce, neck and neck for most of the matchups in the games, and they were all entertaining, with the exception of a few who were just bad. It was kind of like a couple of the beginning rounds where it was just like, oh wow, this player's just bad. He should just practice a little bit more before at least accepting to go to a feature match. I definitely would never go to a feature match with a deck that I didn't feel comfortable piloting on a way that I can display it, towards hundreds of people. But hey, to each their own. But with all those top matches and everything being said, we eventually cut over on day two after 11 rounds of Swiss to a top 32 breakdown. And the top 32 for the event are as follows. We had 16 Snake Eye variants in some way, shape, or form, whether it be pure or mixed with some sort of engine. We actually had 3 Fire King Snake Eyes on top of that, so we had 19 in total for all Snake Eyes representation. We have 3 Runic Stun, which I'm pretty sure Vince is going to get led over. We have
Already am.
two two branded players, 2 voiceless voice players, 1 pure Kashtira, 1 Flunderies, 1 Scareclaw, 1 Pearly, 1 Labyrinth, and 1 Runic Plunder. Top 16 then quickly brought the ratios to a smooth 9 Snake Eye variants, 6 of them being cash and 3 of them pure. Then we had 2 branded, 2 Fire King, 1 Flundery still, 1 Lab still, and then the 1 Runic Plunder player who's still there. I'm pretty sure Ryan App lost to this Runic Plunder player. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy who walks around with a pirate hat at all these YCSs, and he's just been playing Plunder since it came out. So kudos to him. I'm pretty sure he's top 16 in there. So top 8 then became 5 Snake Eyes. 2 of them were cash, and then 3 of them are pure. One of the cash players being DB Grinder. So shout out to him. I think he got 3rd place, so he was doing really well with the deck. We also had 1 branded, 1 Fire King, and 1 Lab in top 8. Cutting over to top 4 was 2 Snake Eyes, 1 Fire King, and then 1 Lone Lab player. So 1 Snake Eyes Pure, 1 Snake Eyes Fire King, 1 Snake Eyes Pure, 1 Snake Eyes Kashtira, one Snake Eyes Fire King, and then the Lone Lab, with the finals then becoming Snake Eyes Pure versus Lab matchup to end it all. And although the top coat was jam packed with big names, but everyone knew that there can only be one crowned king, and that man was none other than Cam the Man Neal. So congratulations to Cam and his affiliate team, Team Bortle, for winning the entire event with pure Snake Eyes of all things, even post ban list. So that man definitely had some goo in there, especially with the Death Patter and the Omega play, just to kind of hand loop. I thought that was kind of cool. He said he didn't resolve it as many times as he would like because, just hand traps you. As soon as you get hand trapped, you just know you're not resolving that combo. But it also is good to have it in that arsenal, just to have some sort of offensive play to, do going first. But with the high representation of Snake Eyes in the room over the weekend, do you now feel like the ban list that we had was a little too lenient on that deck? Or do you think that it'll be touched again on the very next list we get? Or maybe that it's right acceptable where it is and just someone just happened to get lucky? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, as far as that ban list, I think we covered this on the last podcast when we had Fresh on, is like, I think that was more of the money grab ban list than the balancing ban list. We saw them push out a lot of stuff that they reprinted in the Rarity Collection, and then they even hit Link Creeble to save the original Sinful Spoils in the Snake Eye package. So I honestly do believe that they're going to, at some point in time, hit the package of actual Snake Eye once they are able to make a little bit more sales on it. They might have to emergency hit something before that happens, if this keeps like occurring. But at the same time, I don't think it was, even though a lot of the representation was Snake Eye, I think it was really cool to see things like the Kashtira Snake Eye actually be seen so much in the tournament. And you actually saw, as you said, DB Grinder piloting it. So you saw a really good pilot of the deck and just see how consistent that little combo line. It's like 4 cards. I think it's like Fenrir, Unicorn, the
Yep,
Pressured Planet, and the Birth. I mean, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. And like that Birth put so much pressure. I mean, honestly, all those cards put a lot of pressure on the game overall. So just
indeed.
seeing that instead of just going pure Snake Eye with the OTK, honestly, like we were seeing them have to splash it with other decks, even though I guess the pure did win the whole thing, so I guess you don't have to splash it too much. But the main
Correct.
thing we did see was, even though Snake Eye is still alive and well, and I do believe hitting the Link Kuribo was not warranted, we did see that it really changed how the deck was played. They had to go into the Relinquish. And then a lot of that also, we saw the Baron gone, we saw the Savage gone, and as well as the Summon Limit. So because of many players were talking, like they were expecting to see a lot of Nibiru's. But I think because of the Link Kuribo hit, we saw even more Infinite Impermanences and effect failures affecting that deck summoning than we actually thought we were going to be seeing, just because, as a lot of players were stating, they can dodge it with the Link Kuribo. So affecting the Ash or negating that add to the hand is really harder to do once that Link Kuribo is in the graveyard. So we saw that those two hand traps played a really, really nice role in that format. And yes, Nibiru was really pivotal, but as we saw, because of Baron gone, because of Savage gone, a lot of the Snake Eyes set up with the Dragon active in case Nibiru were to come crashing down.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could see that everyone was trying, especially like the notable players on stream, like Couch and Cam and all that. Like they were definitely trying to read what cards their opponents had. What do I lose to in this situation? Is there a way I could sidestep this hand trap, maybe this imperm or something like that? Even cards like an Ash Blossom. Is there a way I can bait out an Ash Blossom to on a point where I want it to happen, so that way I can maybe use that Ash Blossom as fodder for a Hida to climb into maybe something like a Princess, or maybe even sidestep certain hand traps, like you said, because especially with the Link Rabo being gone, all of your normal summons and those little monsters are all susceptible to hand traps, like Mourner, Veiler, and even Infinite Impermanence being the best one because it doesn't play into tactics, which also was another card which was running rampant. I think I've seen about 5 or 6 tactics being activated between just the streams and then the side streams going on over there too. So that the play choices were really, really, I think, narrowed down to you're throwing about 12 to 18 hand traps in, maybe a couple of board breakers or a couple of disruption cards, and then you better just have 15 to 20 engine. So I think that that's the exact reason, if I'm not mistaken, that players like Pack were choosing to play decks like Branded that don't play hand traps a lot because they require so much engine, and then replacing some of the non-engine with board breakers and be able to like play through boards instead of allowing the hand traps to kind of hinder them, and then you play through it. So I thought that was a good meta call as well.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting at the beginning of the format to find out if it's a board breaker format or if it's a hand trap format. I think that's kind of like initially what a lot of players want to kind of figure out. And then I think that's also why we saw such a representation of all these decks, which I really liked. I mean, we saw Flu make its way into the top, as you said, as was Labyrinth literally coming in second. And honestly, I think that deck's just going to stay around for a while and even get better. And then even though Snake Eye was again still just predominant in the metagame, the technical play this format or this tournament seemed a lot better. Like boards got narrowed down quicker, they got broken
Absolutely.
faster, and then we literally saw like a little like big bully beatdown with like Hida attacking for 1850 a couple times directly, and that Mourner putting in more damage than most
Very
of the
simplified
attacks.
gameplay, yes.
Yes, and honestly, that's kind of cool if you can take these very complex decks and then it gets broken down into almost original Yu-Gi-Oh again. I can't complain about that. It was really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, there was a match that I remember us watching on stream where it was the branded player going against a voiceless voice player, and the voiceless voice player had no excuses on losing that last game. He just had full combo. He had barrier up. He had low. He had double low, if I'm not mistaken, with the Skull Guardian up. He had Ceravis on field with
Yes.
Old Man as well, and that branded player broke that entire board apart bit by bit, piece by piece. And so when he passed over, his opponent had, I think, one card in hand and then one card on field, and his board was insurmountable. It was like Brandon in a red set, lost up. Lubellion was in attack mode. He had the Sanctifier out there. Mirror Jade was there with the access to be able to bring it back through the Albion or Albaton, whatever it is. It was a crazy board. So just to be able to watch like the skill too of just saying, how is this player going to dissect this board? What's the first piece he takes? How is the first movement? Is he expecting his opponent to hit him at the points he wants, or is he being maybe disrupted or interrupted at different points that he's usually used to? So it was really cool to kind of see all these players not only have to think of it on spot, because a lot of those games were down to the wire. There was a lot of them that kind of there was very I think there was like two of them or very very few that I think ended with anything more than like 15 minutes left. A lot of them were kind of going like right down to time, especially those side ones too, because everyone was just thinking so hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the other, like you said, it kind of went down to the wire with like all the decks. I remember that exact game you were talking about because you were literally like, "Oh, bro, he has no reason to lose this. He's got the set board." And then
There was
we
just
just
no. I
saw it,
was just like, there's
dude.
just no way. I
Yes.
was just
And then we
sitting
saw
there
it
with like
crumble
this kid.
down, bro. It was
Yes.
insane. Like we watched it just start toppling and
Hmm.
wobbling and just start piecing it down front to the ground. And that's the thing about this format is it feels like it's doable. Like where when you had Savage, when you had the Baron, it was like, okay, even if I get him to waste the negates, he's gonna still have the good follow up. He's still gonna have like this massive monster on the board. But this format, you're like cracking just little boards, and it's not as oppressive. And like you said, it just goes down to that simplified game state. And even though we do see, yes, Snake Eyes is the best deck in the room still, that at least the other decks can fight back, and it does feel a lot more back and forth. We saw, as you mentioned, the triple tactics talent just really showcasing well this format. Honestly, and that's going to be a card to be looking into, and a card Konami might even be hitting since it came out the Rary collection. I
Yeah.
give or take in that. But we also saw other cards like Pot of Desires getting played, which honestly I haven't seen that card get played in quite some time outside of things like Sword Soul. But Pot of Desire's coming back because you can't just Omni negate it off with the Barons. So it's just been nice.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, a lot more of having to play through your opponent's disruptions instead of just upright negating them or being able to just say, yeah, I don't have to worry about that because I got a negate. Not, ooh, maybe I should time this right or sequence this in the correct order because I don't have negates. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the difference is night and day. And it does take events like this, especially after big things like his ban list or even core sets being announced that can shake things up and put it into his perspective of how much do you really know this format or how much homework have you really done, because it's now going to show, especially now with Indy, I think being the next YCS we have in about, I want to say like 3 weeks, 4 weeks or something like that, something crazy like maybe a month or something. But like we had YCS Indy is what everyone's really going to, with the Legacy of Destruction being able to be legal for that tournament.
Yeah, and I think legacy destruction is going to be a huge like difference. I think we discussed that at the beginning of the stream too. It's almost like we
Mhm.
had like it's like a set little YCS that its own little format that's immediately going to go away once the set comes out.
Correct, exactly. I think we were talking about it on stream too about how it was weird to see certain people there, but not all of the really big competitive, especially the ones that are always in the NA events, because this YCS came a week after a ban list and also a week before a new course that's being released. So the players who are basically learning and practicing for the new format, being post Legacy of Destruction, wouldn't want to come to this event because they don't want to guess their lines of play all messed up, get flustered, maybe not think or overthink because you have access to different cards in the future. So I definitely think that had something to do with it, especially with the attendance being a little bit more on the lower side, where YCS is like this are upwards of maybe like 22 to 2,500 on a level such as this.
Yeah, no, and a lot of players are definitely just preparing for the new set. And like you said, just practicing bad habits is not something a competitive player ever wants to do. The last thing you want to
Correct.
do is get used to doing the wrong thing because it will definitely result in a game loss later on down the line.
Uh-huh.
And
Those habits are
I'm
bad.
I'm honestly like kind of really excited to see like what all sticks though from what we saw during the YCS because like you mentioned like the Mourner, we saw things kind of even like new tech monsters like Borreload Furious Dragon just kind of coming out of the cut, clearing
Mhm.
up games, being able to kind of just like have that quick effect pop. It's just been really nice seeing like a little bit more variety in the metagame, and I kind of hope that transcends into the next set.
Yeah, there were a bunch of different tech cards. I saw a bunch of different cards that I don't think that I've seen in a competitive arena before. Even, I mean, obviously we have cards that took a surge into the last couple YCSs that made a comeback, such as Lullaby of Obedience, which when we were going over on stream, we could talk about how because it allows you to add or special, you can influence the field in certain ways to force out certain interactions. Like let's just say a player had drolled you, you can then activate a Lullaby of Obedience and call a name that you want special summon because you don't have the ability to add it, so your opponent must make you special summon it. Or maybe you can go all the way up until you have a Promethean Princess on board because you're locked into fire, and then say, "Oh, I want to call Nibiru," and your opponent can't special it to your hand or your field because you have Promethean Princess and you're locked into fires. But if that's the case, you have to add it to your hand. So it's a good way to like interact where you can gain advantage depending on the situation that you're in. And even cards like what was it, Curse Seal of the Forbidden or whatever that is.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
Corsair
that
of the
was a
Forbidden
cool one.
Spell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one was a super clutch one that came from that branded player. I think it was for. Oh, what did it? No, it wasn't the brand. It
As
was a runic
Runic,
player.
yeah, Runic's,
Yeah,
yeah,
and he
Runic's
hit it
son.
on the branded player, hitting branded
Yeah,
fusion of all
yeah,
things. And I
the
was like,
fusion.
yo, that is crazy. See, those are the type of cards that you want to like have in your arsenal. That's going to not only make an impact, but also give you an advantage against other decks. Like those were good cards that I definitely saw. But any other like tech cards that you remember seeing on stream that you just thought were like, oh, that's a cool card. I'm glad that's seeing play now.
Yeah, first off, that curse seal was clutch. That was amazing. I think we're going to see that in the future. The
Mhm.
other ones were like things like deck lockdown. We're finally seeing played
Oh
in the
yeah, that was a good
metagame.
one. Yep.
Yeah, and like now we're seeing once it gets played, it's going to be very effective. The runic stuns were trying to do great with the super ancient organism, which right now is okay. It's going to be much better once the tempai is
Transform it,
out.
yeah. Mhm.
And then I think the biggest ones that we were seeing that were like honestly just super effective were like I like how more I know this has been out for a little bit, but a few players kind of just started playing it more, and that's like the Celine combo. Whenever like you're just trying to link climb a little bit more, you got to use your effect failures, you got to use your Diabell stars kind of out of the graveyard. Celine has just been coming in clutch again into the extra deck, and then we even saw I think it was it DB Grinder with the access code afterwards. That was kind of
Yep,
crazy
yep.
seeing that again. And then I think a lot of just tech cards, even in the extra deck, like we saw the Borload Furious Dragon, and it has been years since I've seen that card. And then even Typhon was kind of just really
Yep.
coming in clutch almost for that Labyrinth player at the very end. They didn't quite do all the justice, but it was still there. And then Twin Twister is like the
That
last
was
card.
another good one, true.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I ran to TCG, grabbed 3 immediately, and I think they're up right now. Just right after that
Yeah,
whole event, like that thing's nuts, you know. So
and then the
Twin
secrets went up.
Twister, I think they're all up, which I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, for the people out there if they wouldn't put that in Rarity Collection too. So if you didn't get anything, don't worry about that. Probably,
Yeah,
I'm
for
sure
sure.
I'm sure they're gonna do something with that. So, but yeah, those are the good tech cards, and like you said, Mourner, Ghost Rare, Premium Gold, Mourner, good stuff.
This troll ass.
Oh, it ain't
Well,
troll, I
there's
swear.
there's definitely one thing I can say about the stream, which was a huge improvement from the
Yes.
last YCS streams, and that was the inclusion of the side table matches, which were streamed after the
Dude.
main feature match had concluded, so that we weren't stuck seeing a screen full of just walking people, or like it wasn't just some background music, which I think they switched up. I don't know how I felt about the switching up of the music. We can kind of touch on that afterwards, but definitely that side stream of like the very next table right beside the feature match, that being included was super duper clutch. I very much like that. I wish the audio was also there for that, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I'll definitely take it in the way that we're going. That was super big improvement, and I like the direction that I saw of that from
Oh
Konami.
yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And that's the other thing. A lot of players. I know we're in a weird spot right now in Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's like where it's better than it's ever been in certain regards, and then it's also just really trash still. And a lot of people have been hating after the Trident Dragon thing. You know what I mean? I even had a little rant about it, and that's fine. But
Mhm.
dude, Konami's been stepping up in a lot of ways. I mean, like I said, like whenever I used to do the like streaming with the locals and stuff, there was none of this. There was none of this. You had to have someone go to these events and write an article about it and like
Yep.
put it out on the
Yep.
internet for you to even like know what the heck was going on. And by then, good luck getting anything worth anything, you know?
Correct.
So the fact we can see it live as it happens was great. And then like you said, it like went from like a D plus C to like a B. You know what I mean? Like we're in a
Definitely.
passing grade. Your parents are actually proud of you. You know, it's like this is good.
I'd
Like,
put
you
this
know,
YCS stream on my refrigerator.
bro,
I'd
like
hang it
straight
up.
up. Like no,
This
they
was a good
pinned
one.
like yeah, they put the magnet on their fridge, man. This was great. And it like we did like it was a 9-hour stream, fastest 9 hours of like I would assume like for that type of stuff because normally those drag on
Yes.
and you're like in
Yes.
between the matches and that was horrible. And it's like they still had some of the people watching, but it didn't like you literally didn't even. It was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna sit here. You and me would have a discussion. It's like, let's go use the bathroom, grab some food. Oh, look, the match is back, or there's an interview, and then the match is back for the next one. So it just was way more fluid, way more entertaining, and actually, like, I'm sure their numbers reflected that on how many viewers actually like stuck
Mm.
around instead of just like leaving in 10 minutes.
Absolutely. I remember having a conversation with a couple of the group chats while we were on stream, and a couple of the guys were definitely saying, "Yo, that this side stream is definitely a big improvement. It allows us to see more games that are going on, to see different decks that are actually at the
Yes.
event instead of the notable ones. Like, of course, we're going to see the Snake Eyes mirror matches and stuff like that. But to be able to see players like Patrick Hoban go against
Yes.
Jose, I think that was a really good one. Like, I think to be able to see the lines of play that these big heads are coming up with. Because it's one thing to just hear, all right, cool, Patrick Hoban's playing X deck at a
Yes.
tournament. It's another thing to see Patrick Hoban pilot
Hundred
X deck
percent.
at the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
You know, dude, it's like 100% on that, and like that, like they also like catered really hard. Like also, it had I forgot what they named it. It was something kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. They did a lot of
Mm,
work on that. They had a decent playmat under it. They had it ready to go, and then they also a
yep.
lot of the times they didn't just start it mid match. They like reround it to the like the beginning or something. Like we
Yeah.
weren't watching it live. We were watching it like a little bit delayed. You know, which is fine. And it's just like, so we're not stuck halfway through the match. You actually see them build the board and break through it and stuff. And that's so important. And like you said, just being able to see multiple angles for the decks you want to see. And then the biggest, I don't know if they did this before. I thought this was new. They had the semifinals 1 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I don't remember them doing that before, if
They
I'm
definitely did
correct.
not.
Yeah, so that was hype because everyone
That
wanted to
was.
see like both of the duels right there. So like that was insane. Like the fact they literally delayed, because I'll be honest, like I watch, like Fortnite and Valorant and stuff. Like Valorant is amazing, by the way, for their competitive scene. So like that reminds me of that's a real official tournament, bro. You want to see both people going for the semifinals into the finals. That is what you want to see. I understand not for top 8 and 64 and all that, but no, when you're talking about the last literal 3 matches of the game, you need to see all of them.
Exactly. Not only that, but it helps build to like the lore of it too. Like,
Yeah.
like what players had to go through to get there. I really do like it. Although it was something small, I think it had a major impact on the stream as a whole, and I definitely fuck with it for sure. Are there any thoughts there or anything like that that was notable for the stream for the YCS for you, or maybe like the event as a whole before we move on or anything like that? Just because I know that we had 9 hours of going into it, but it was definitely very, as you said, I would say a B towards B plus. Definitely a passing grade. It could be better, but I definitely like the direction it was heading overall.
Oh yeah, no, I mean again, very good, it left good feelings, it left a good memory. I'm looking forward to many more as long as they like I think they're just going to keep stepping up as we go, and I'm just overall excited for that, and I'm excited to see how it works with the community because I think since streaming has come to Yu-Gi-Oh, things have gotten better. Okay, people
Yes.
are less likely to cheat. They're less likely to do all sorts of weird stuff on stream without it being noticed. And then like you have this like morale boost on the like, and obviously you got introverts. I mean, like the guy who won was like, he's introverted and that's chill. But then you got some people that run up and got intros. And I mean, it's sick. I mean, it's really like
Yeah.
we're in a sport now. It's not just, oh, I'm going to go to my friend's house and play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, we got a real sport going. And like, I'm excited to see where this takes, like, how this, goes forward. I'm excited. I think it's just going to keep getting better.
No, I agree. I agree. Like this is as you had said, I think this was makes me excited for the
Yes.
next YCS. So like it makes me really be like, damn, I can't wait for YCS to need to come because I can't wait to watch that stream. I can't wait to see what they have planned. Like I also shout outs before we move on to the next topic to Ciro Tantillo is another Syracuse player. He managed to day 2 the Edison event that they had going on at the YCS as well, and I think he missed out on top 8 for some reason. Edison event just has top 8 no matter how many people, no
Oh
matter how many
no.
matches. For some reason, it's just top 8. So although he had one draw, it didn't matter that he had one draw because no one with a draw
Yeah.
was gonna make it. So it just was unfortunate. But shout out to him for actually making day 2 and actually going the distance. Because he went out there just to have some fun and wound up being able to day 2 the event. And if there was more slots available to that event, kind of like how there was the main event, then he would have definitely been in the quote unquote top cut of that event. So congrats to him. I'm so proud of him.
No, dude, big shout outs to him, man.
Oh, absolutely. And then moving on, but not really quite moving on, if some people catch my drift. Another very important matchup went down over the weekend that not many people know of, unless you're a part of the Zodiac Duelist group on Facebook, which is a group that you can, as a duelist, maybe follow, I think, or join, or however that works. But you could basically communicate or reach out to any duelist that is a part of that group on Facebook as well. It's like the most pop in, hyped, and interacted with group as far as Yu-Gi-Oh related groups are. So for those of you who don't know, our YCS champion Hani Jawari has been having a bit of internet beef with the fellow competitive player Sean Pittman, with the two players trolling each other on like Facebook beyond belief after it was said by another duelist that Sean was better than Hani by one of their affiliates. So this led to about 2 weeks worth of subliminals, and then eventually leading to just outright deliberate Facebook tagging and Facebook posts going back and forth over the duelist who was the better one, until someone had said, "Let's just duel out and decide who can talk the most shit." It kind of died down after like the 2 day little debate or whatever, and then unironically, exactly that happened. Christian Urena, the goat. I'm so glad he was doing it. He really is the goat. He just so happened to go live on Facebook on Sunday night. To a small table, because as soon as I see he went live, I made sure to join it because I thought it was going to be his explanation on Snake Eyes combos or something like that, but it actually panned over to a small table where two duelists were set to face off. It doesn't really mention who they were or anything like that. It just shows his face and then the two scenes, and it eventually pans over to show that Hani is actually playing against Sean Pittman. and they're about to face off at an end-all be-all match. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'd very much encourage you to go check it out. For not the satisfying drama that it led to, but at least for the good skills that were being shown from both players on both sides. I'm not gonna leak the entirety of the matchup. I think it was like a 31 to 32 minute match. So it was pretty crazy. I know DB Grinder might go over it because I know he had his phone out with a couple other guys just recording it because this drama was kind of thick. It eventually came down to Hani winning due to what looked like an unbeatable game three due to just misplays from Sean Pittman on his end tragically. It was still fun to watch. But it was definitely something that you guys might want to go check out just to see how good they were playing, the drama, the intensity of game one, how they were going back and forth, flinging hand traps after counters, after interruptions. It was really really good, intriguing. It definitely captures your attention the entire time. So that was really really fun. Did you happen to hear about that drama, or did you know about anything going on with that duel prior, Venge?
No, I literally had zero idea about the drama at all. I'll be honest. Like I like sometimes like I will get on social media and see that there is some crazy stuff going on by, and I'll just like catch up on it later. Not normally in the middle. But as we're talking about that, I like reloaded X, and then I see Farfa's post like, "Can someone give me context of why there's a grudge match?" So X is listening and trying to fill me in on that. So that's good news, X. But no, honestly, I haven't been up to date with all that. Okay, so when they were like going back and forth, was it like super like rough, or was it where they just kind of
Oh, it
like?
was super crazy just because like Sean Pittman won dice roll, so he went first, and then it was
Oh,
something like
I
he
meant like
normal summons.
verbally,
Oh no no oh it
yeah,
was
yeah, or were they just like sportsmen
it
like
was
trash
it was
talking?
it's what seemed like real trash talking at first. There wasn't a
Okay.
lot of talking between the players during the match. It was really
Hmm.
just them focusing, locking in on what their
Hmm.
moves were going to be, and just interacting with themselves. But I would say that Hani definitely talked the most shit. He was talking about how because I think it came down to he said that Pittman was a better player, but Hani's defense was like, he's got no YCS tops, he's got no like, nationals tops, he's got no appearances at Worlds, he's got no like notable accolades. All he does is win regionals. Like he's got a couple regional wins, and so Hani would do something like post Sean Pittman up saying he's looking for like because Hani is another person who like plug people in for representation as far
Hmm.
as like finding sponsorships and shit. So
Yeah.
he said, posting Sean Pittman, 0 wins, 0 tops. He do
Okay.
shit like
Well,
that and
okay.
like
I feel
tag
you. I
Sean.
feel you. You see, it's like meme war though. It's not
Yeah,
like, oh,
exactly. Yeah,
f
it wasn't
you,
like
f that,
it wasn't
f
anything. No, no,
everything, or
100%. At the end of the
everything.
game,
Okay.
they
Okay. Good.
both
Good. Good.
shook
Good.
hands.
See, yeah,
It
yeah.
was a
You
bunch
need
of
that's
trash
good. That's
talking.
good. That's good though. That's
It's
good,
almost
man.
like the rap drama. It was almost like when Kendrick says some
Yeah.
shit to Drake, and Drake is like, "Yo,
Yeah.
I'm coming.
That's
Let's go. Let's play
healthy.
it
That's
out."
fine. Yeah.
No,
No. See,
super
that
healthy,
sounds
super
funny.
fun,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was
That's
great to
great.
watch too. Like because you're
Yeah.
watching two great
It's
players
hype.
go at it.
It's hype.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and it was like super cool to see people. I mean, everyone was watching. You had Yassine in the back. He was watching. DB Grinder was watching. Christian
Yes.
Urena was watching. Chris LeBlanc was in the back watching. Jose was watching. Bro, there was a whole bunch of people there. I think eventually Pat Hopen walked over or
So you might
whatever
as
it
well have
was. But like there
topped
was
an
so many
event.
people.
He's good.
Exactly. So like, you know what I'm saying? So like everyone's watching them, and it just came down to game three, and unfortunately Sean Pittman just wasn't focused enough. He misplayed with
Yeah.
a Dark the Charmer, just forgot to activate. Didn't have enough extenders because Hani was cooked. He was dead to rights for sure until
Okay.
he passed, and then Hani was able to top deck and just win the
Well,
game. So
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was
No, well,
super
that's an
intense.
interesting game. Yeah. So that's good. Well, we'll see. We'll got to keep an eye on him, see when he starts topping, because it sounds like he's got the potential to. So that's good.
Yeah, we'll see if he does now. He's got to definitely sharpen up because those misplays are going to cost him for sure,
Oh,
especially
well, that's the
talking the
difference
greats like
between
that.
someone who goes and then tops versus not.
Yeah, topping regionals versus topping YCS. That's the
Yes,
difference right there.
yes, yes. My favorite in those like back and forth games is like, I don't know if you ever feel like this, but like whenever it's back and forth, it's almost like a dance. It's like, I'm gonna play this, you're gonna activate that. I'm gonna chain this, you're gonna chain that. And I
That's
think we
exactly
saw
how
it
game one
literally
was.
like in the labyrinth though match though. Do you ever feel like the guy was like, oh well, that's fine, I'm gonna do this during my end phase, end my turn, and the guy's like, oh, it's my turn to dance, and he drew his card. He's like, wait a second, I'm supposed to activate backjack in my end phase. I wasn't
Yep.
supposed to do that step, and the opponent's looking at him like, I know, bro. You know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
rhythm, you have to get used to. The opponent can just casually be like, "That's your go. Do you have response?" No, I mean, fuck. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean,
you
fuck.
got,
Oh wait,
yeah,
hold up.
bro.
Let's talk
But you
about
gotta
this guy.
judge that.
Hold
Just
up.
yeah. But that happened to win the entire thing. Well, I don't know if he would have won even with the backjack, but it definitely didn't make him feel any better. You know?
No, for
So it's
sure.
just,
There's
but
always that
that's the
what if in the
thing.
back of his head.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it's just like that being in the heat, playing at that level, you got to do it, or else it's you
Yep.
can't just be like, I'm gonna
The
one shot
pressure's
that
on,
thing.
baby.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
difference between making top cut at a YCS and then going on to winning, or making top cut at a regional and maybe getting your invite but not winning that mat. So
yeah.
you have to gotta be on your p's and q's,
Maybe
especially
you
at high
just
end
bubble
and high pressure
yourself,
events like
know.
that. Yo, that guy did bubble himself. That's crazy. Yo, shout out to fucking Thug though. He a
Yes,
thug. I fuck with him.
yes, yes.
But moving on to our last topic today, we just wanted to be a little bit of a heads up and speak lightly of what the sneak peeks were like over the weekend for Legacy Destruction, which is the set to officially release on Friday, the 26th of April. I attended one of the sneak peeks at Comic Zone quickly on Sunday in the middle of the stream, just while one of the rounds were going through. I went down there real quick, pulled a sneak peek. I think I pulled maybe a secret, traded for a couple others, got everything for my 10 pie deck, and then got a couple cards for the fire deck that I'm playing right now. And then I shot back over to the stream, and then I actually hosted our own event at the sneak peek for Unplugged Gaming, as well as the Comic Zone one, where our winner there at the Unplugged Gaming sneak peek was a voiceless voice player. We had, I think, 10 players or 11 players. We eventually had, I think, 4 rounds, and then top cut was the no, it was standings. It was standings, but and then it was the voices voice player Brendan Agnant who was first place, winning himself a nice mat. And then I think we had 3 mats raffled off along with the banner, and then we gave out a whole bunch of OTS packs, yada yada, field centers, all that stuff. So it was a great time. But were you able to attend any of the sneak peeks around your way, Venge?
No, I have not. I can't. I want to remember like when the last sneak peek I've went to was, but it's been quite some time. Like I did not go. I'm excited though to see like where the. I mean, I like the new Ashen support and all that stuff. I like that stuff. But it's gonna be interesting to see where Voices takes it afterwards. I'm just expecting or excited to see where the metagame goes from here now that it's out. Like we were mentioning earlier, Tenpai wasn't around, some of this extra support wasn't around, so we're going to be seeing quite the difference in the metagame. And I think the number one card I'm looking for out of that set, you said it was a different name. I don't remember which name you were mentioning, but on Dueling Book, it's like where there's a will, there's a way out. It's that field spell where you excavate cards from the top of the deck, and then you can add one to your hand, put the rest on the bottom, and then bounce a card.
Yep.
Like that was that card is really nice, and I'm excited to see if that actually plays any part in some games.
No, I think some people were sleeping on the Tempai deck because I wasn't there at locals on Sunday, just due to the stream and the YCS. But I did hear that because sneak peek, you're allowed to play the cards that are released. It's like as it kind of intended, is your sneak peek into the format. So someone was playing Tempai in its pure form, and I think with like 28 hand traps or some crazy shit, and wound up winning, or at least he won. He first place through Swiss, and then eventually lost in top 8 just to Scareclaw or a Cashier Scareclaw from a Cashier player, because that card is like a hard counter to that deck apparently. But he went undefeated because not only did people not know how that deck operated or what it did, but just he has been practicing with it for a little bit, and then he knew that this was going to be able to sneak some games out in the right conditions. So I think that was another deck that people might have to have their eye on. Are there any other decks that you think that might take over in the right conditions in your eyes, whether it be just from this set being introduced, or maybe even another ban list coming out in the next couple months before Nationals?
No, definitely. I think there's going to be plenty of decks that could do decent. Flu's always a deck that gets played at the beginning of the format because people are comfortable with it. I don't know if it will
Mhm.
actually like make its way like throughout the format. I think we will definitely proceed to see ourselves like with the Runic Stun, We're going to see Voiceless Voice even more than we have. Tempai is definitely going to be a formidable deck in the future. It's going to be like stamp itself in the metagame. Many players are wondering if it's going to be as like crazy over here without the Kaiser and the Max C. But as you noted, the guy can main deck every single hand trap that he ever wants under the sun, and that is just really advantageous overall. I think because of Tempai being as strong, we're going to see decks like Labyrinth are going to be even better. It just took second place. I think they can potentially get a first place under their belt with cards like Daruma Karma Cannon, which we saw just coming in really clutch on the stream. And then once Dimensional Barrier becomes an actual staple in the meta game, like D Barrier is going to be crazy against decks like Tempai, just limiting them into what they can and cannot do. And yes, there's still a link line in the deck, but I think overall, Dimensional Barrier is going to have a huge mark in the metagame. And then we're going to see plenty of Kashira and Snake Eye variants, or Cash Snake Eye variants. And then I'm interested in seeing what the original Sinful does with the new Diabells card, because that card is going to make some sort of effect in the metagame.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially Dimensional Barrier, with decks like Branded still being around, the Thunder Dragon Colossus just coming off the list for Thunder Dragons. That's going to be a deck that I think people are going to want to fiddle with. Even I'm curious on picking it up. I just pick something out low rarity just to fuck around with it, see how it is. But I think those are all notable ones, and even the Memento one with its fusion, I think coming out the next core set, Infinite Forbidden, whatever it is. I think that's going to be another contender that people have to at least look out for on the rogue level. Shining Sarcophagus is a deck that I think is once again on the rogue level that people need to at least know what it does, because it'll reach up and fuck your day up otherwise with a board banish that you're not quite ready for. So hey, I don't know. I think that those are also some decks that you might want to keep your eye out, or at least find out what the fuck they do, so that way you're at least armed with the knowledge of your choke points, or what points of interaction you should probably best utilize for those decks. But with all that being said, guys, just want to let you guys know we are starting to run out of life points. Always just got to remind you guys, as the sponsored content all above, you guys already know, click on that Linktree link. It's going to bring up that link to all of the social media sites, and even the podcast that you guys are listening to now, on every single distribution platform that we have it on. You guys can be sure to go and follow all of those sites, click notification, whatever it is, because we'll be doing giveaways soon. I also have a box right here in my hand of Legacy of Destruction that we got from our sponsors over at Unplugged Gaming, that we are now going to send over to Venge. So Vengeful Shadows can now obtain this box, so that way he can then throw a giveaway for you guys. So we are sponsoring his next giveaway for you guys. So be sure to go over to his channel, his YouTube channel, or over onto his X follow. I'll be sure to drop his handle down there as well, to be a part of that giveaway, whatever he decides to do it, and however he decides to do it, whether it be a tweet and reach or retweet, and maybe a follow. Maybe he wants you to go onto his YouTube, maybe like a certain video and comment, and then he'll pick a winner there. So we'll leave it up to his hands. But also shout out to Unplugged Gaming for sponsoring not only us, but as well as all these other giveaways that we are able to help out with. So be sure to go join their Discord server in the description box below, to be a part of all the TCG communities that you would like to be a part of. Also, be sure to catch Brad, aka Mr. Perfect, live streaming on Twitch every Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the East Coast of the United States for those who are outside of it. His Twitch will also be in our Linktree link, and you can, like, as I said before, catch him maybe his deck crafting or theorying, play testing, whatever it is. Catch him on EDO Pro, Master Duel, Dueling Book, etc., etc., etc. With that being said, I just want to be able to thank our guest once again for coming on. Always love having chit chats with him, whether it be in the Discord just vibing out playing some Fortnite, or maybe we're having serious talks on the market, or even talks like this about the format and maybe the big events that had just happened. I always love having you on. So thanks for coming on, donating your time. Is there any last minute shout outs, any mentions like that you want to have? Any final thoughts on the episode today? Anything like that?
Well, definitely a big shout out to you again for having me on. I really, really, really do appreciate it. And then for coming on for that YCS. And I guess you're the first sponsor. So shout out to Player X and Semi Limited Podcast. We're going to be getting that box to someone out there. And Thug's going to pull that ultimate rare from his OTS. It's going to be the best.
Better.
And again, shout out to Thug314. He does like my thumbnails. He's just the wall I bounce things off of. He's the best, man. I love Thug314. Again, shout out to all the viewers out there. If you want to check me out, that is Vengeful Shadows on YouTube. I made this gamer tag when I was 15, guys. Give me a break. All right, so it's Shadows,
No.
SHAD
Clown 'em, guys.
0WZ. 0WZ. I know it's crazy. It's like horrible. But anyway, so Vengeful Shadows, YouTube. We got the Twitch. And then, as he mentioned, we also got the X. So we're on X a lot. We're on the YouTube all the time doing market watches as well as how to beats and top 10. So come check me out. And again, thank you again for Player X for having me on the show.
All love, guys. As you know, I will be linking his plugins down in the description box below as well, so you guys can not only be a part of his community but also be a part of that giveaway. I'll let you guys know when it's being sent out, and he'll let you guys know when it's starting to be active, so that way you guys can get your hands on the next core set that we're about to have, Legacy of Destruction. Once again, appreciate all the love, and until next time, guys, thank you and good night.